All right, what's going on? Day two, and I still don't have my Audi R8, man. So, got to run it back up. This is the same position or same account from before. Go to the dashboard, YouTube series 100K. Let's go to the analytics. We're at one win and one loss so far. Is it gonna show? There we go. One win, one loss. Uh, Two risk to reward. Yada 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 yada. All right. So just continuing forward. Also, what I'm gonna do is each week on this particular account, um, because I do have like NQ, oil, and ES. At the top of each week, just run a full analysis on all three, and then each day find a particular setup in that day. That makes the most sense. So yeah, what's today? This is Thursday. So for NQ, this looks pretty obvious. It looks like we're bullish to this high up here. Looking at the 3 week look back, we have 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. The current range is from this low, and obviously that high. So those are relative equal highs there. Got south side here. Let's move this down. And going down to the daily, and we have our 1, 2, 3. So we respect this fair value gap here, and this is just a bigger time frame entry protocol where we have the run on sell side here. We run sell side liquidity. We expand bullishly, failing to displace below this low here, these relative equal lows, failing to displace below those lows, trading down into this fair value gap in this order block. We're looking for internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. We fully fill in this fair value gap here. We create an order block and we leave open a BISI, and we're looking for buy side liquidity. I put sell side here. Boom. So now on the 4 hour, we're just looking for that continuation move. I know I'm bullish. I know these relative equal highs are put on the menu. So let's just find a setup in that frame, right? So it is out of the time window. It's 11:15, but 8:30 open. We had the high here and the lows down here. We came down into this order block here and started trading higher. Let's see what ES was doing. Again, same thing from top down. We have 1, 2, 3. So this high up here, if we know that NQ is taking out the high, then we can see, ES do the same, or there may be SMT divergence. So there's that. But just looking at it here, I'm favoring NQ more for the buys. So we'll leave that there for ES. We do have that full fill on the gap, but we may see SMT between the highs. NQ looks like it can run out the highs, while ES is looking like it may not. You can see that pretty clearly there. And then for oil, on a top-down analysis, we may be going from internal to external. We have a low resistance liquidity run here, and we took out this previous week high here. So, and we're inside of this fair value gap and this order block. This looks like it can, move lower. So those lows are my target. This previous week high got ran through. We'll just target that is buy side liquidity. And then on a daily, we could see that breakdown. Excuse me. So we run buy side here. We run sell side here. Current dealing range is from this high to this low. We retraced back up into this fair value gap. We have a small little gap right here. You can see it a little bit. I don't get too particular on shit like that. So from there, we resisted price, and we're looking to continue lower for sell side liquidity. So on a 4 hour, ideally what I would like to see is price continue lower. We do have NFP tomorrow in this situation, this account. Let's go sell side. Oops. We do have a gap above us, and we do have this order block that price couldn't expand above. So we may look at that as resistance to continue lower. Dropping down to the 15-minute. This looks like it can be like an accumulation manipulation, taking out the low here and then expanding higher. But it's NFP week. It is Thursday. Let's just, be cautious and use like 50%. I mean, not 50%, 0.5% risk on any trade that we take if we were to take a trade today or tomorrow. But given the time that it is, we may not. NQ rallies above that high. We create a fair value gap here. Yeah, this looks like it can continue higher. Just looking at it, we have the run below this low here. We expand bullishly. Well, first we have the run below the low. We form a lower high and then a higher low and then a higher high. We shift structure here, take out the liquidity above it. So now our current dealing range is from this low to this high. We can retrace down into 50% or this fair value gap and a discount, and then look for price to continue higher. Because of the timing of this, approaching lunch for me isn't ideal. So I wouldn't be looking to take a trade on this particular day, on NQ at least. And then ES, similar situation. You can see that there's SMT where NQ took out the highs and ES failed. And then for oil, yeah. So let's just move forward into the next day. Today is a no trade day, so let's go over to NQ and go to New York session. Boom. So we could see clearly NQ pushed higher for that buy side liquidity. So if we look back here Thursday, remember this fair value gap, we were looking at that 5 minute to look for a push higher. We would have got stopped out if we were to take a trade in here at this fair value gap. It gave us a nice little push, but nothing significant to get it back above the high, given that there was SMT divergence on ES there. It continued lower and then rallied for NFP. Oil ended up trading lower. But yeah, NQ, not really looking to take a trade, especially running buy side liquidity on NFP. Yeah, price runs below this low into this gap on a 5 minute, no clear entry on NFP. What we can't see after running buy side liquidity is if we fail to push higher, we can look for lower prices. But giving it a go, let's go up to a 15 minute. This is 9:15. 9:30 opens. Starting to trade a little lower. Let's see if we push higher from here. There you go. For me, NFP is just like a weird situation to trade. So let's just push over into the next week. Boom. All right, so now top of the week, let's do a weekly analysis on everything. We're at all-time highs on NQ, which I just hate. Like, I hate being at all-time highs. I don't know. It's just, you're just waiting for a retracement. You don't even know if the retracement is what it's going to be. You don't want to pick a high because you're picking a fucking high. And then you don't know like whether it's gonna buy or not. But it is what it is. You just gotta dive in and understand the markets and at different parts of it, right? At different time windows, at times, like this is at all time highs. So how does price react at all time highs? What are the likelihoods or of it moving a certain way? What characteristics does it show? Shit like that. But NQ, this can continue rallying, but ES hasn't taken out all time high. So there may be an SMT divergence there for lower prices. NQ may be a little overextended, and ES, after taking out this swing high here, may want to look lower for sell side. It's just we have to see what price is likely to do. And then oil ended up going from that internal to external, taking out that sell side and then retracing all the way back up into this fair value gap. So we'll just have to see what price wants to do at this point here with oil. May want to stick with playing with ES for the time being. So let's see what we can pull from here. It's Monday. We took out buy side liquidity. So after running out external range liquidity, we can target internal. So let's see if we have a fair value gap below us we can target. We have this old SIBI and this old BISI that we just created. So price may want to come down into this fair value gap. Ideally, if we're taking out a daily array, we would like to come back down into an hourly inefficiency. And then we have this one up here. But given that I'm only looking at the weekly, daily, and 4 hour, and dropping down into lower time frames, we're just going to use this 4 hour inefficiency. So dropping down into the 15-minute, noting our liquidity points, we have this high here with a fair value gap above us, and then we have this opening gap here. So I would like to see price trade lower into this opening gap and potentially lower. So let's see what we end up doing. This is 9 a.m. open. This is 9:15. We do have a small volume imbalance here. And we can see there was resistance at this particular level, like 27.96. So we may see resistance there, but no guarantees. Nice. Can we sweep that liquidity up there? There you go. All right, let's see if we can make a move here. For lower prices, potentially. We just have to wait and see. Nice. I like this. I like this here. Failure to displace above this buy side liquidity here lets me know that we can potentially look for lower prices. So dropping down to this 5-minute, we do have this 5-minute fair value gap here. We don't quite create that order block the way that I like. But let's see what we do. Tapped into this fair value gap here. I'm tempted to drop down to a 1-minute, but I know I get fucking slaughtered on the 1-minute at times. So let's see what NQ is doing. If we have anything to do there, nothing. So yeah, let's see what we can pull from here. All right, there we go. We get a nice full fill on this BISI. If we leave open a SIBI, then I would like to take that short. Right. Looking to get down into this inefficiency here. We also have this 15-minute this 15-minute BISI. If we fully fill that, we can look for a entry there as well. Price starts rallying. Looks like it wants to respect that this inefficiency here. So I may look to enter. We do get a run. Then I have to ask myself and run through this, right? Do I have my entry protocol, right? I do have my sweep. I don't necessarily have a shift. Let me drop down into lower time frames. 4 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute. Relative equal lows here. Yeah, this looks insane. It's iffy on this one. What's the point in taking an iffy trade? All right, if I'm not fully confident in it, what's the point, right? You want to take a trade that you're 100% in. Even though each trade doesn't go your way, right? You still have to have that conviction and knowing like, hey, this makes sense. I'm confident behind this trade. If I lose, it's okay because I was confident in it. It made sense. It followed the process. So yeah, I'm not going to take this trade. It is Monday, still early in the week. So let's see what happens. Nice. Makes sense. We respected this inefficiency here and price ended up dropping. So that made sense. I just couldn't get behind it. I didn't see the protocol 100%. But the full fill on that 5 minute inefficiency was that telltale sign without the shift that we can be looking for potential lower prices, especially with it resisting this area here. So that makes sense on why it dropped down. Nice move, sizable move in that time window from 9:30 to 10:30. So this is 10:55. It most likely continues dropping from there. Yeah. Cool. Drops all the way down into that inefficiency. Let's see if it can get down into this 4 hour inefficiency. If it does, then good. We can look for higher prices. We are generating buy side liquidity as well. We have this high here and then this failure swing here. On NQ, we have relative equal highs there. And on oil, it's doing what oil does. Still looking for potential lower prices on oil. So yeah, there's that. So let's jump over to ES. Nice. So instead of dropping down into this inefficiency here, we find support at this volume imbalance. So this was Sunday's open, I believe. Yep. That new week opening gap. Find support at it on Tuesday. So now we can go from internal to external on ES. 8:30 news. This was CPI. And now we just generated liquidity again on these highs. Let's see what NQ did. Same thing. NQ is already taken out the highs. And then good old oil. Oil looks pretty clean for the sells. So for oil, this looks pretty clean on some downside action. We traded up into this inefficiency in this inverse fair value gap, and we're finding resistance. We take out this high here, so you can look at it as like that candle range theory where you take out the high, and now the next draw would be that low. So you take out the highs over here. Now relative equal lows is what you're looking at. This makes sense essentially because during London we take out the highs here and Asia's high and CBDR high, take those highs out, and then show speed and displacement lower. We have our current dealing range from this high to this low. If you want to run a fib, you can look at above 50%. This is the lowest close. Yeah, this inverse fair value gap is pretty huge. But if you wanted to keep it simple, if there's not any fair value gaps clear as day, just enter at the 62. Stops above the high, targeting lower prices. I like this. This makes sense. It matches the protocol we run buy side, especially with it being in direction of the higher time frame. We snatch buy side, we shift structure, we fully fill in a BISI, we leave open a few SIBIs, and we don't have any clear on here, but we leave open a few SIBIs, and then price is likely to retrace and drop. So we'll take this, place order, we'll go 50% on it, especially with it being a high risk to reward trade. I think it's like 3.5, yeah. So we'll go 50%, 0.5% on this trade. Let's go ahead and see NQ. I don't really like that. 4 hour. Yeah, all-time highs is annoying. ES. Yeah, still above a high and looking to go higher. Excuse me. I'm not too familiar if like these assets are even correlated either. But I'm just going with, looking at each chart as its own. So that's how I'm moving with it. So let's take a look at it and see what happens here on oil. This is 9:05. I'm on a 5-minute. Let's go to the 15. So this is 9. Nice. I'm starting to get that retracement to 50%. This is 9:15. 9:30 open. We push higher. We get tapped in. Now let's see how price delivers from here. Continuing higher to that 70.5. Continuing higher. 79. Find resistance here at this fair value gap. And a little bit of drawdown, but that's okay because we already adjusted our risk to 0.5%. So let's see what happens. We're continuing to push higher and we get stopped out. Why? Why did we get stopped out? Let's go to the higher time frame. I can say that we got stopped out because we were probably selling in a discount. Yeah, selling in a little bit of a discount. Should have been buying in a discount. Right, price taps this fair value gap here. You find support, taps into it again, and now find support. So it can go from internal to external. Let's see if it like fully distributes higher or goes to this fair value gap. Okay, that I can see that. So for future reference, just I would have to pay attention to the closures on these 4-hour candles, seeing what the next likely move were to be on the 4 hour, so I can catch that range. But price ends up coming up into that fair value gap on the 4 hour chart. Yeah, sweeping out that liquidity. Let's see what ES did. ES took out the high. NQ playing around a little bit. ES taking out that high on the 5 minute. Okay. We took out buy side here. Am I still bearish? I can be, because of this, how this closes here. Failure to displace higher. We can target internal on this gap here. And these relative lows, pretty consistent lows there. Yeah, we took out 830's high, sweep the high there. After sweeping, we fully fill in this inefficiency. As long as we get a full close below this low, then we should be good for sells on ES. Let's see what we do. Okay. So price ends up coming back up into this inefficiency here and then dropping off. Again, that's fine. Tapping into this 15-minute fair value gap. Volume imbalance. This can be a institutional order flow entry drill. You can see a little bit of the market maker sell model: accumulation, reaccumulation, smart money reversal, high probability sell, and then your institutional order flow entry drill to take out the lows. What's NQ doing? A little bit of the same thing. But again, look, on NQ, you're picking a high. So it's like, oh, fuck, do you really want to pick a high? Or do you want to, trade price in direction of the trend? So, a little bit iffy. And retail is probably looking at this as a head and shoulder. You get your left, your neckline, your head, your right, and then your drop with the fair value gap there. So yeah, there's a shit ton of things here, but we react off of that fair value gap. Start retracing a little bit, and continue lower. Then we drop. Yeah, so that ended up being that institutional order flow entry drill right there to take out the lows. That was clean. What I may do is just put all of my focus into like ES and NQ, just so I'm not, or at least each day, just focus on one asset for that session. Yeah, because that made sense here. Ran out your buy side. You don't really get your full fill. You do get your shift there, and you get your order flow entry drill here, dropping it. So, all good. Moving on to the next day. So what I'll do is this week I will mainly focus on ES because daily looks clean. We may look for continuation sells. It may just drop. Oh yeah. So this failure to displace above this daily high up here lets me know that we may be looking for continued sells. So we have this fair value gap here that we can go from internal to external. You have a group of lows here. We would just need to see how we react. with this candle here. We already took out the high. Nice. So we have liquidity here prior to 8:30. We had news at 8:30. How was retail sales? Retail sales. And then we have the highs up here for 8:30 that we can see potential reversals at. So let's see what we do. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:15. We don't get the stab above those highs. We just get that drop off, which I don't like. I would much rather seeing the push higher. Yeah, same thing for NQ. But it is reacting off of this 4-hour fair value gap relatively nicely. So with it creating this order block, I don't like those relative equal highs. I would much rather it run that and then drop. So looks like we're finding resistance at that 15-minute fair value gap. And yeah, ends up falling. Potential institutional order flow entry drill. Yeah, I don't like how those highs were left like that. I would have wanted those to get swept before diving. But that entry looks clean, but it just didn't match the protocol. 1 minute, yeah, it doesn't. I don't even look at the 1 minute. So I feel like I'm missing trades. I feel like I'm missing opportunities to enter. So it is what it is, right? This is Wednesday though. Let's see what we do. Let's drop down. Let's push forward. Boom. All right, yeah, we took out the target there. Alrighty, go to next New York session. Yeah, and then PM session just completes it. Now on to the daily. Don't really see much. But on the 4-hour, we're at this fair value gap here. We do fail to close below this low here, create that order block here, so it may support price into this fair value gap. We'll just have to see. Do have relative equal highs here, and we do have, you can see it a little better now, the run below this low, the expansion higher, full fill on this inefficiency shifting structure here. We may look to, and we're not seeing much speed back down to the sell side, so we may run the low and then continue higher. We'll just have to wait and see what price wants to do there. So I'm looking at this low to get ran and then rally up into this fair value gap here. Let's see what we do, and let's take a look at NQ. If we have anything. Yeah, similar scenario. Run below the low, fully fill in the SIBI, leave out in a couple bissies. Don't really get that expansion above this swing high here. And we have a little bit of a deeper retracement. But let's see what ES is likely to do. I haven't even looked at oil. I'm most likely not going to look at it for a little bit. Yeah, chop. Nothing crazy. Not missing anything there. It does end up dropping though. That's cool to see. It just wicked us out and then tanked. Literally, wicked us out and then absolutely fell. But that's price, man. Good to see that the analysis was there, just the pricing and the timing was off. But with ES, we're looking for the run back up into this inefficiency here. Let's see if we can get that. We do 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:15. Starting to sell off. Currently at the low there. Sweep. Let's see what we do here. We do create this order block here, and we fully fill in this inefficiency here, this volume imbalance. I would look to take this long, maybe at the mean threshold, but we are essentially picking a low. Let's drop down into the lower time frames and see what we can pull. 3 minute, yeah, there's that 3 minute fair value gap. Okay. 2 minute, 1 minute. I'm not sold on it. Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on it. Let's wait and see what price does. Nice, get a good reaction. Shoots up. That was a clean area. If we get a full fill on this inefficiency here, then we can continue higher. Nice. So now the full fill on this SIBI would allow me to enter in. Stops below this low here, and I'm targeting these highs here and higher. So a nice 1 to 2. Put that there. Place my order. Because I feel a little confident in this trade here. We'll go 70. Now we'll keep it at 50, and then if we win, we'll risk the profit. Starting to get that retracement down. Looks like it's rejecting, but it can be generating buy side. We are starting to form a trend line here. Oh yeah. Definitely starting to form a trend line. So let's see what we do. We get tapped in. Nice. I like this full fill here on this inefficiency. If we close above that, we're good. Nice. Continuation higher. I'll move my stops up underneath this low here. Matter of fact, we'll put it at the open because I don't see price trading lower. Let's see if we can continue that push higher. Looks like we're resisting, but we do generate equal highs. This fair value gap may be looked at as a potential area. We get dropped down into break even and we may get stopped out. Yeah. Okay, we get stopped out, and then does price continue lower? No. Go straight to RTP. So in this case, what I should have done was leave it here. Would have allowed me some breathing room to allow the trade to develop. So yeah, I should have allowed the trade to develop a little bit more because the analysis made sense. Everything was good there. For this one, it's just risk management. Cool. Alrighty, that made sense. So let's move over to the next day. This is Thursday, so let's go to Friday. Push up to the daily, see what we're doing. All right, so this was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and this is Friday. So you can see we're taking a pretty long time to get down and fully fill in this inefficiency. So we may be looking for continuation higher, especially with it being Friday. Fridays are likely to, correct itself. If the week was bearish or bullish, it'll do the opposite on Friday, most likely, more times than not. But for me, Fridays are like, if during the week was decent, you don't have to trade Fridays. But if during the week was like, could have done better, then you can open up yourself to Friday. But right now, it just looks like it's consolidating. We're just stuck in this range here. Yeah, we're just stuck in a range. Let's see what NQ is doing. Probably the same thing, even worse. Oil is even worse. Yeah, let's see. This high and this low. These are relative equal lows down here. Now let's see what price does from here. Just looking at the 4 hour, what we can do, because we're at this inefficiency here and we're stalling, we may look to rally and then drop because of these relative equal lows, and we're stalling at this fair value gap. If we were likely to be bullish, then it would be something like this, where we would tap into it, it'll run the buy side or run the sell side and then displace. Since we're not displacing at this fair value gap and we're stalling, we may be looking to continue those sells. So let's see what price wants to do. We did take out Asia's highs over here, so we'll keep that in mind. Nice, continue a little bit higher, and then we drop. This is 9 a.m. Right? Boom. And we do have a fair value gap in here. So if we fully fill in this fair value gap and we shift below here, we can look for equal lows here and lower. Mark this up as the 15-minute. Boom. And this is going to be the last trade of the session, because I do have to run. So let's see what we do here. This is 9:15. $9.30. So it looks like we support this fair value gap here and expand higher. Let's see where we go. Okay, looks like we're failing to displace above that Asia high. Psych, I lied. Closing above it may look to continue higher, or we come down and we shift the lows down there. So let's see what price is wanting to do. Yeah, it's looking like it wants to resist and support. Wants to support this high here. So let's see. Taps into this 15-minute fair value gap. Let me pull that out. Taps into that 15-minute gap. Do we find support? Looks like we do a little bit. Not really too keen on the buys in this case. This is 10 a.m. So yeah, we may look to push for the buy side. So if we were to get something, we would have to shift here and enter at that order block. shooting for buy side liquidity. Let's continue price. See it get up there. Okay. We look to our left. We see a small fair value gap here. That price is resisting, having a little bit of trouble getting above. We do get a tiny shift here, but I want to see displacement below. Yeah, because there was no displacement below this low, then couldn't really look for another sell. But we do push higher, and we're approaching the outside times of the day. And do we push higher? No, we don't. Okay. But what we do is we snatch buy side here, and we shift structure here. So our current dealing range is from this high to this low. So PM session, there may be something for sells. So what I'll do is just speed up and see what we do, because I do have to get out of here at 12. Let me make a note. Where is 1? Boom. So I don't normally trade PM session, but it's the same situation with AM. You're looking at 8:30. You're looking at 1 p.m. as 8:30. So you're looking back and seeing what liquidity is left in the day. So you have your highs up here, and you have this high up here, and then you have your lows below you. So let's see what price is likely to do. Let's drop up to the 15-minute real quick. We have this 15-minute order block here. We have the mean threshold here. That's resisting price a little bit. Let's see what we do here. We start dropping. Again, we're above a high as well. We did come up into 70%, 70.5, and then continue that sell off. I don't see any fair value gaps on this 5-minute, except for volume imbalances. Right there could have been a sell. Right here could have been a sell, but as we're dropping down, it's not clean in my opinion. That's mainly why I trade NQ. It's a little bit cleaner. Create an order block here around the opening price, so it can look to trade short there as well. I don't trade PM sessions, so I'm not taking any of these trades. We still don't take out that low yet, so we still have room for the lows. Boom. So price just ends up trading lower, right? Ideally, what I would like to see is these lows down here get taken out, but yeah, that's gonna be today's session. A few things to work on: risk management, trade management, not necessarily risk management, trade management, and entry protocols. So next session, I'll be diving in on NQ and going from there. So until next time, until I get my fucking Audi, I'm out of here. Currently still up a little less than 1% on the account. So we'll see where we take it. Peace.